The September corn contract is unchanged at $4.83 U.S. per bushel. The average trade guesses for new crop U.S. soybeans are all tightened from the previous estimate, a yield of 51.3 bushels per acre, 4.246 billion bushels of production, and 267 million bushels in ending stocks. Global ending stocks for new crop are forecast for 120.04 million tons. CONAB raised its soybean production estimate for Brazil by 37 million tons to 154.6 million. The Rosario Grain Exchange expects Argentina to produce 48 million tons for new crop. China left its new crop production estimate at 21.46 million tons. The September soybean contract is down 12 U.S. cents per bushel at $13.41. The November contract is down 6 U.S. cents per bushel at $13.12. The USDA is estimating 1.739 billion bushels of new crop wheat, with loosened ending stocks of 598 million. Global ending stocks of new crop corn is pegged at 265.92 million tons. Argentina has completed seeding 14.8 million acres of wheat. The U.S. prevented a 30,000-ton wheat shipment from Poland from unloading in Houston due to contamination with corn. The September Chicago wheat contract is down 3 U.S. cents per bushel at $6.35. The September Kansas City hard red wheat contract is down 4 U.S. cents per bushel at $7.63. The September Minneapolis spring wheat contract is unchanged at $8.17 U.S. per bushel. That's a look at the ice futures in U.S. markets for Friday, August 11th. In Winnipeg for MarketsFarm.com, I'm Adam Pellishotti.
Outstanding capacity, innovation, and the industry's highest density come together in a New Holland roll belt round baler. Available at Butler Farm Equipment in Fort St. John. Whether you make 4x5 foot, 4x6 foot, or 5x6 foot bales, there's a roll belt right for you. All models feature wide, durable pickups and smooth feeding systems for faster baling. Integrated precision solutions help you make smart baling decisions on the go. Stop by Butler Farm Equipment in Fort St. John today.
The opinions expressed during this show do not represent those of this station. If you've missed any of this show, you can follow the podcast at energeticcity.ca. Now, an in-depth look at the news and information shaping our community. This is Moose Talks with your host, Doug Craig, on Moose FM.
Good morning and welcome to the show. A little later on, we're going to chat with Ted Euchner and Robin Sipe of the Peace Country Pickleball Association to talk about the growth in Fort St. John and the Peace, and in general, with Fort St. John's first pickleball court set to open in Kin Park next week. But first, the BC government recently awarded the Bouffioux family of XY Ranch just outside of Fort St. John with a Century Farm Award, celebrating 100 years of farming in BC. To talk a bit about that award and his family's farm, we're joined now by Bill Bouffioux. Bill, thank you so much for coming in this morning to chat with me.
Thank you, Doug.
I really appreciate you taking some time. Let's start with 100 years ago, when your dad was coming from Wisconsin on his way to Dawson City in Yukon, and he came through Fort St. John. He discovered some farmland he liked, I suppose, eh?
Yes, that's true. He left Wisconsin and went to the copper mines in Butte, Montana, and he contracted silicosis, so they gave him 6 months to live.
Oh.
But the doctor said if he got out in the fresh air, he might last a little longer.
Okay.
So some millionaires upstaked him, and that's when he went to the Yukon and Alaska goldfields. But he was a little bit too late. By the time he got there, the claims were already staked, and it was kind of past the rush. So he come back and homesteaded. At that time, the Peace River block belonged to the federal government. It was the CPR block, and then they traded it back to the government for some land down the Kootenays. So the original homestead receipts and titles came from the Dominion of Canada, not the province of BC. So anyway, he homesteaded away, and to homestead it was $10, but you had to clear 10 acres or build a $400 house or do some things to improve prove up the homestead.
I see.
So he was, I think the last one was in 1956.
Oh,
Took him all of years.
Was there like a time limit at the time? Like he had this much time to do some of that work?
Yes, I believe there was, yes.
Yeah.
'Cause, actually, a couple of people had homesteaded part of our farm previous to the father, but they would never do anything with it. So, and there was no money kicking around in late teens. So he would work on the trap line in the wintertime to get enough money to kind of do some improvements in the summertime. And he had accidents there. One time he was crossing a beaver dam and he fell through the beaver dam, froze his toes. So gangrene set in, and he's way out alone on the trap line. So he took an axe and chopped his toes off.
Wow.
That would take, I'm not sure how you'd do it. But
A different time, I'd say.
right.
Incredible. Well, he clearly made it back and continued farming. Do you know, did he have any experience with farming before he got the homestead, or did he kind of learn, him and his family, as they went?
Mostly learned, but his father, my grandfather,
Yeah.
they had a logging operation in a farm in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And his grandparents moved from Belgium to Ohio or something, and they were farmers too.
Okay, so he'd had some info
Right.
like passed
Farming
down to-
background, yes.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's kind of skip ahead a bit then, because of course you're born kind of in the I guess the 30s, right? If I've got
40s.
40s. Pardon me, Bill. Sorry. And then you grow up and you decide that you want to be a rancher like your dad. Well, why was that something that you were so interested in?
Well, I was interested in farming.
Yeah.
And another little story, I thought about buying the farm from Father with financing from Farm Credit Corp. So I got the forms, and I was just too scared to go into debt. So we threw the forms out, and we used to have burn barrels in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Next spring, I went to the burn barrels, and this form was right on top. Wasn't even weathered. So I felt a little better, and so
It was a sign, you thought. Yeah.
my wife and I filled it out, and we got the farm credit loan, and it was kind of a struggle the first few years to make the mortgage payments and feed the family. So my wife used to, we had milk cows, so she'd sell cream and skim milk and eggs to the neighbors, and that was kind of our grocery money. If we had, I think our grocery budget was $20 a week.
Wow.
So if we had $2 left, we could go to the Ford Hotel and get 10 glasses of beer.
What a time, eh? Now, the farm then, you kind of mentioned you had cows, chickens. You have any crops really? Or
Oh, yes, we had grain crops
Yeah.
and grass seed. And we started with Hereford cows. Then I sold the ones that Dad had turned over to me. And we bought some purebred Herefords. And about 3 years later, we showed our first animal, which was a grand champion.
Oh, okay.
So we raised Herefords for 27 years, going to shows in mostly Alberta. And then just got tired of raising the calves. We'd be up for 6 weeks calving the cows, and they had to go through the barn to dry off. They get scours, they get navel infection.
Yeah.
So we decided to go to bison. That's so much easier to raise.
Yeah. How did you get tipped off that bison would be better? Did you know someone who was raising them?
Yes, Bill Bickford kind of talked me into it, and Matt Boak, a rancher from Alberta. Bill was the first or second person to have bison in BC. And at that time, they were considered wild animals. So they finally come up with a permit system. We have to have a game farm to raise bison.
I see.
Anyway, and then bison, the same thing. I never intended to show them, but we went to a few shows, and boy, I thought mine are just as good as that. So we've since won, I don't know, well over 100 trophies, and
Yeah.
I think 25 grand championships. And we had, out of 9 consecutive shows that we went to, we had 8 grand champion bulls and 1 reserve champion bull, consecutive, which is a pretty good record.
Yeah. Wow. And this was kind of in the 80s when you kind of switched to bison, right? If I remember right.
79, yes.
79, yeah. So you've been raising bison a long time.
Right.
From most of the time you've owned the farm anyway. I mean, as you mentioned, this farm has won lots of awards in your time. Was your dad winning awards for some of the stuff he was doing before? Was that even really happening then, or?
Well, the Alaska Highway News used to call him the master farmer, but he never won any awards. He never entered any shows. So,
Yeah.
that I know of anyway.
Yes.
And this Century Farm Award is actually a tribute to my father, because he struggled all his life to build it up and turn it over. Now, part of it is I also got in trust for my great-grandson and great-granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
They also have a interest in it now,
Yeah.
even though they're only 2.5 and 1 month.
Mm-hmm. So you know that this is going to stay in your family.
At least part of it, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think when your dad started out and you know you and him and your mom started having a family, do you think this was his goal, to have a family farm that stays in the family for kind of as long as the family wants it? Do you think this was something that would make him proud to hear that 100 years later you're still farming the same kind of land?
Well, I think probably in the back of his mind, yes.
Yeah.
But he was kind of started a family a little bit late. He was 60 years old when I was born.
Wow.
So he had kind of a late start.
Mm-hmm.
But he's seen his grandchildren.
Yeah.
Lived to see his grandchildren, so that was good.
Wonderful. And then again, I mean, you mentioned it already. This is some of your kids have also started a farm or have a piece of the land that you kind of sold to them for them to do farming too, right?
That's correct, yes, yeah.
Yeah. And then
my daughter, oldest daughter, Cindy, she does the majority of the farm work now.
Mm-hmm.
Sandy, my younger daughter, she does all the books, which take more and more time with government forms and crap.
I mean, this has been a tough year just on farms in general in Northeast BC. How's it been for you guys?
Oh, it's been really, really dry, like most of the prairies.
Mm-hmm.
I think our hay crop was 25% of what it should be.
Wow.
We rent a couple quarters, and we just barely scraped up enough hay for the feed for the winter.
Mm-hmm. Have you had to purchase more to kind of?
No, I think we'll have enough. But
yeah.
But the purchase price, wow, it's 12 cents a pound is what I've been hearing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's $140.
'Cause everybody's just getting by, I guess. Hey?
Yeah. And I talked to one fellow. He's got a friend in Prince George, and he usually gets his hay from Smithers or in that area. And he said he's looking for hay up here. Well, there's none up here either, so it's a bad year.
Yeah, tough year. So hopefully next year will be much better then.
Always next year.
Always next year, hey? All right, Bill. Well, I think we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for coming by to chat with me about this wonderful warm and some of the history of your farm, and congratulations to you.
Thank you, Dub.
You're very welcome. That's Bill Bouffioux, the owner of XY Ranch here in Fort St. John. We'll be right back to talk all things pickleball on Moose Talks right after this.
Moose FM is everywhere with the Fort City Chrysler Summer Cruiser.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Emily, your Fort St. Chrysler Summer Cruiser host, and today I'm hanging out down here at Fish Creek Community Trails. Now you can find me at the end of the parking lot, and if you show me of the Moose FM and the Energetic City apps, I'll be able to enter you into my draw for $60 to the co-op. That's right, $60 could be yours, and all you have to do is just download one little app, right? Now, the benefits to both of these apps are amazing. The Energetic City app, provided that you turn on notifications, will notify you the moment that new stories drop from energeticcity.ca. The amazing journalists over there are always cooking up something new, so definitely check them out. Also, the Moose FM app allows you to listen to our live broadcasts from wherever you have cell service or Wi-Fi signal, and it's awesome because you can enter all of our contests and listen to all of our podcasts right from one spot. I'm Emily, your Fort St. Chrysler Summer Cruiser host, and I'm hanging out down here at Fish Creek Community Trails. So come on down and say hi.
The Fort City Chrysler Summer Cruiser is fueled by FSJ Return It, United Rentals, Rhythm Auctions, Fort St. John Co-op, Home Hardware, and Lake Point Golf and Country Club.
The message is received. It's an SOS. Traveland RV is going to
save our summer!
Save your summer with super summer savings during the Traveland RV factory authorized liquidation with factory rebates up to $20,000. Find new travel trailers from $28,888 and new fifth wheels from just $66,897. Plus, finance from as little as 6.99% OAC. Visit Traveland RV in Grand Prairie for deals and details. Traveland RV, simply unbeatable.
It's all happening now. The Ernie Sports Experts Blockbuster Tent Sale. Factory authorized clothing clear out means you save up to 60% off. Hundreds of shoes are up to half off. Men's, ladies, kids. Top brands like DC, Mizuno, Adidas, New Balance, Under Armour, Roxy, Quicksilver, Burton, Fox, and Vans. The Blockbuster Tent Sale at Ernie's Sports Experts.
Choosing childcare is a big decision. Parents want to know their child is safe and well cared for, having fun, and learning new things. They want their childcare to be somewhere their child wants to go every day, a home away from home. And that's what you'll find over at the YMCA. Discover why YMCA childcare is so much more than you'd expect from a childcare center. It's where your child will learn, grow, and thrive. You can register today by visiting nbc.ymca.ca.
Join Just Jack's for their brunch buffet every Sunday all summer long. Enjoy a delicious selection of breakfast favorites from 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Adults are $24.99, kids are $13.99, and little ones 5 and under are free. Plus, Encore Rewards players receive 10% off. Enjoy a delicious brunch buffet every Sunday this summer at Just Jack's and Chance's Fort St. John, your place for entertainment. Use your game sense. Know your limit, play within it.
When it comes to iPhones, most people think you can't replace a battery, but Micro Consulting can. If you need a new battery, see the crew at Micro Consulting because battery life is important. It's how you stay connected, take care of business, and keep in touch with the ladies. See, they just don't stop calling. Hello there. Oh, hi Mom. Also, remember to update your contacts.
For new batteries, screen replacements, parts and more, see Micro Consulting Sales and Service, keeping you connected on 100th Street and on Facebook.
At energeticcity.ca, we know there are important topics that impact our region that require more time and resources to write about. Our investigative journalist, Spencer Hall, will delve into topics such as healthcare, First Nations relations, and more to keep you informed.
This month, Energetic City Investigates looks into how Fort St. John businesses are being impacted by frequent property crime offenses. Executive Director of the Fort St. John and District Chamber of Commerce, Kathleen Connolly, says small business owners are feeling defeated and frustrated because there aren't supports that allow them to feel safe in their place of business, adding that she's heard from some owners who have started keeping a weapon at their business.
That tells me that not only is an owner at risk, but now somebody who's committing, it could be even petty theft, their lives could be affected in a really big way.
To read our investigative stories, go to energeticcity.ca/investigates. If you want more stories like these that hold those in power accountable, become a supporter of energeticcity.ca. Watch this show live on Facebook or download the podcast at energeticcity.ca.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Dub Craig. Now we're going to talk about pickleball. It's a growing sport that we keep hearing more and more about, it seems, with every passing year. And as it turns out, here in Fort St. John, they're set to open the community's first pickleball courts. There are some in Taylor already. So to talk a bit about the growth of pickleball and just pickleball in general in the Peace, we're joined now by Ted Euchner and Robin Sipe of the Peace Country Pickleball Association. Good morning to you, Ted.
Thanks for having us.
And good morning to you, Robin.
Morning.
Perfect. Okay, so let's start with, first of all, a bit about what pickleball is for people who don't know, because I know it's a sport I've heard about for some time.
Well, it's just like tennis, only with pickles.
Should have seen that one coming.
Yeah, you should have seen that one coming.
But it is similar-ish to tennis, is it not?
Yes.
Yes.
How so? Like, what are kind of the main differences from, say, the tennis you'll see on TV to what you'll play on the pickleball court? Is it a lot?
Well, it's, you in order to describe pickleball, you kind of got to go into the history of it.
Yeah.
And it goes all the way back to 1965, Bainbridge Island in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
There was a couple people who were who weren't quite retired, but they had property in Bainbridge Island, and they would go there in the summertime, and their families were bored because the dads would go golfing every day. And the mums and the kids were like, oh, we're bored, we're stuck on this island, what are we going to do? So the dads got together, and they said, let's think of something that the kids in our families can do while we're off on the golf cart. So there was an abandoned badminton court on one of the person's properties. Mm-hmm. So they put the badminton net up, and then they just cut some paddles out of plywood. They originally started with ping pong paddles, and they decided that was too small. So then they cut these paddles out of plywood, and they started with a wiffle ball, which was a training ball for tennis. And that's essentially what a pickleball is. It's the same diameter as a tennis ball, only it's hard plastic, and it's a wiffle ball. It's got holes drilled in it to slow the speed down.
Yeah.
So they invented this game, and at first they didn't have any rules. They were just kind of volleying the ball over the badminton net. And they said, well, they discovered that this ball bounces off the court really well. So then they incorporated new rules where you got to let it bounce a couple times when you start. So then they lowered the net, and then away it went. It took off.
Okay.
Literally. So what happened by the end of that summer, 1965, the kids were frustrated again because they weren't allowed on the court because the adults were playing. And the game just literally took off from there. So what is pickleball? It's a badminton court. It's a tennis net height net. And you play with a tennis wiffle ball, and you play with paddles that are about the size of a racquetball paddle. Right?
Okay. I see. Is it is the paddle kind of I'm trying to remember a racquetball.
I should have brought one in.
Yeah. It's still kind of longer-ish like a tennis.
It's fairly short.
Okay.
You're limited to a maximum length of about 17 inches long.
Gotcha.
And they're about 10 inches wide.
I see.
So, yeah, it's a hard paddle. I should have brought one in. I know it was in my mind. I thought, I got to bring one of these in, and, Ted and I can play a little mini game in here and just demo it. But, the pickleball paddle just imagine a slightly larger ping pong paddle.
Okay. And as you say, the ball, because it has holes in it, it moves slower than a tennis ball. So
relatively.
Okay, so if you're good at this, you can get it kind of whipping at your opponent, I guess.
Plus, of course, the competitive spirit comes out. There's a whole range of pickleball balls, from the indoor balls that have bigger holes in them and more rubber in the ball, so they're quite a bit slower. So now you get the uber competitive guys. We like that hard plastic ball with little tiny holes. So you can get the ball going over 100 kilometers an hour on a smash. Oh yes.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I was not expecting you to say that.
Yeah.
Because, and I'm going to say something, and I hope it isn't offensive, but I've associated this game with an older generation. You hear about.
Well, Ted's old.
But this is something when I was growing up, I would hear about. Like my grandparents, I think, played a little bit of here and there. But the game is growing beyond that stereotype.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about pickleball, is the elderly people, the mature people can play the ball, play the sport. Name me a recreational outdoor sport that anybody can play from 8 to 80 and be reasonably competitive at it, have fun, and not charge a whole wheelbarrow full of money. It's one of those sports that you get out of it what you put into it, and everybody can play the sport, right from 8 to 80. So that is why it is really taken off. And to get to your point about it being an old person sport, you're totally right. Why is because it got into the senior communities, in the snowboard communities in Arizona and Florida in the late 1980s, early 1990s, and it exploded from there. But now, of course, younger people have discovered the sport, so now it's becoming really competitive, and there's competitive leagues, and there's televised games, and now we have professional pickleball players. When we first started, we came up with this ranking system. Well, how are we going to rank our players? So let's just go 1 to 3, 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. And then as people got better, we introduced 4.0, kind of following the scoring, the ranking of tennis. The top rating in tennis is what, 5.0? So pretty soon we were having 5.0 players. Well, now we're getting really good players, young players into the sport. So we've had to say, okay, we have to expand that. So now we have 6.0 players. So everybody can play the sport. It is really taking off with the young people now. So the last 5 years in North America, it's experienced over 30% growth per year across all of North America.
Wow.
So it's just exploding.
Wow. And do you think the reason it's exploding so much is because, as you say, anyone can play it?
Absolutely.
Tennis sort of requires some athletic ability.
Have you played?
I've never played pickleball. I've tried tennis and failed.
Come out literally within half an hour. We will have you playing, and you will be addicted.
There you go.
Pickleball comes with a dire warning. It is very,
very addictive.
Very addictive.
Good to know. Yeah. So then with the association, I mean, people listening right now who are like me are like, this sounds like it could be fun to maybe get into. And again, the pickleball court's about to open here at Kin Park.
Fantastic.
How do we get involved? What can we do? Where can we learn the sport?
Well, we've entered a user agreement with the city, and the club will be hosting a Tuesday drop-in from 5:30 to 7:30 on Tuesdays. Anybody can drop in. It's free, and they'll be introduced to pickleball.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna be hosting Intro to Pickleball. We have certified coaches. We have very experienced players. Anybody who wants to come out and try pickleball, we have some loaner paddles. The only thing we ask is make sure you wear some athletic wear. Make sure you wear some good shoes, some non-marking shoes, some court shoes.
Yeah.
And come on out. We'll get you going. We'll get you playing. We have balls. We have paddles. And we'll literally, within minutes, we will have you playing.
Wow. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
When does this start, the drop-ins?
This month, or Tuesday.
So this
15th,
coming Tuesday.
The 15th, yeah.
Okay. That's
assuming
perfect.
the courts are available. Right now, they're still fenced off, and the nets are not yet installed. That's supposed to be worked on.
I see.
Yeah.
But it's basically this Tuesday, and if not, it'll be like the following
For the rest of the
Tuesday.
season.
That's right.
Yeah.
Until
And
the end
then-
of September.
Okay.
Yeah, we're hoping to squeeze this into the rest of the season this summer. A bit of a late start for the courts here in Fort St. John, but we're excited. And then, of course, once the schools go back in, we have use of some of the school gymnasiums for the indoor season over the winter. But even then, if there's people who want to try the sport of pickleball out, just contact the club executive. We have a Facebook page, Peace Country Pickleball. You can contact us through the city rec department. So yeah, get a hold of the club guys, and we'll get you playing. It's even if you've never picked a paddle up before, and you say, "Hey, I don't even know which end of a pickle to pick up." So come on out. We will get you playing.
I'm so glad you worked on some material. We're coming in. That's wonderful.
All right. The Facebook group page is just Peace Country Pickleball.
Okay.
That's all you need to search. And you can email peacecountrypickleball@gmail.com. Peace Country Pickleball, all one word.
All right. Perfect. Well, thank you both for coming by and teaching me about pickleball. I'm going to have to stop by and try it out. And you can show me the way.
Thanks again.
Challenge accepted. Absolutely. We're going to hold you to that.
Ted, Robin, thanks so much for being here today.
Yeah, we appreciate the opportunity.
You're very welcome. That's Ted Euchner and Robin Sipe of the Peace Country Pickleball Association. Be right back to wrap things up on Moose Talks right after this.
Moose FM is everywhere with the Fort City Chrysler Summer Cruiser.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Emily, your Fort St. Chrysler Summer Cruiser host, and today I'm hanging out down here at Fish Creek Community Trails. Now, this is a great place to go if you're looking to get out on this fine Friday morning. It's a little bit windy, but not too bad. And the sun's out, so why not go for a nice long walk around the forest? It's absolutely gorgeous here, so definitely come check it out. And while you're here, you may as well show me of the Moose FM and the Energetic City apps. It's as easy as just opening up your phone, showing me the icon, and I'll be able to enter you into my draw for $60 to the co-op. That's right, $60 could be yours. What you use that for, I'm not one to judge. I'd go for a car wash or slushies. But you could also get a tank of gas, maybe something off their roller grill. Could even put it towards some propane. Alright, I'm Emily, your Fort St. Chrysler Summer Cruiser host, and I highly suggest that you download the apps and come find me here at Fish Creek Community Trails.
The Fort City Chrysler Summer Cruiser is fueled by FSJ Return It, United Rentals, Rhythm Auctions, Fort St. John Co-op, Home Hardware, and Lake Point Golf and Country Club.
And now it's time for Is that legal?
Brought to you by Collison Zunert Law Corporation. On this episode, my neighbor's tree.
While we all love trees for beauty, shade, and privacy, they can cause disputes between neighbors when their overreaching branches cause damage to your property. Many cities and towns in BC have bylaws to protect and regulate tree cutting, but generally, it's legal if you cut the branches off at the property line where they overreach into your property. To be safe, talk to your neighbor first and seek their permission. Most neighbors don't want to be a nuisance.
This is not intended to be legal advice. How the law applies depends on the facts of each case. Do not get your legal advice from the radio.
So much more than just dancing. The North Peace Fall Fair runs August 18th to 20th with fun activities for the whole family to enjoy together.
Join in horseshoes, log sawing, and spike driving competitions, face painting and an interactive farm, money sand pile, story tent, live music and food. And there's a free shuttle from Fort St. John. Plus, you could win the gate prize, a $1,000 home hardware voucher.
The North Peace Fall Fair, August 18th to 20th. Get full details on their Facebook page and Instagram.
The Work BC Fort St. John Job Fair is looking for exhibitors. On October 26th, your company can find the right people you need to fill job openings at the Work BC Fort St. John Job Fair. FSJJobFair.ca is where you can register as an exhibitor or call us at 250-787-7100. The Work BC Fort St. John Job Fair is happening on October 26th at the Pomeroy Hotel and Conference Center. Become an exhibitor today. FSJJobFair.ca is where you can register or call us 250-787-7100.
Moose Country weather.
Today, you can expect to see a high of 21 degrees. Now, that does come with a chance of showers and a risk of thunderstorms. Later tonight, 13 degrees, and same deal, chance of showers and a risk of thunderstorms. Tomorrow, on our Saturday, we're going to see a high of 23 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. And on Sunday, it's looking like it's going to be sunny with a high of 26.
Our community first. This is Moose Talks with Dub Craig on Moose FM.
My thanks to our guests Bill Bouffioux, Ted Euchner, and Robin Sipe for joining us on the show today. If you'd like to hear this episode again, or if you'd like to hear an old episode of Moose Talks, make sure you check out the energeticcity.ca podcast page. You'll find past episodes of this show there, along with all the episodes of Secrets of the North, Before the Peace, and Voices of the Peace archived for your listening pleasure. Take some time to listen to some excellent locally produced podcasts today at energeticcity.ca/podcasts. That's our show. Trey Pashinsky and Jordan Prentice are the producers of Moose Talks. I'm Dub Craig. Be well.
Join us next Friday at 10 a.m. for another episode of Moose Talks, a weekly talk show about Fort St. John and the North Peace.